Hi, and welcome to this week's Girls Talk Geek. This is a very special one because I'm here with my mom. I don't know why I always do a Minnesota accent when I say mom, but it's my mom.
She does.
2 nights ago was the first episode of season 7 of Game of Thrones. So we're here to talk about all of that and all of our theories for the rest of the season. Okay, so then Bran is at the wall now. And I was like, okay, so wait, they went beyond the wall,
right,
to find the man in the tree,
right,
the three-eyed raven.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's the three-eyed raven, but then when we last left them, he was at one of the trees, and I kind of thought he was going to stay there, but I guess now he's back at the wall.
The only reason he went beyond the wall was because he had to become the three-eyed raven, and that's where he had to do it. So now they're coming back because he has information.
He's the only one that knows that Jon is a Targaryen,
right,
or at least half Targaryen, half Stark. What do you think his next move will be? I mean, do you think he's just going to send a raven to Winterfell? Do you think he's going to try to go back to Winterfell and help them there? I mean, they know winter is coming. They've seen it. It's been after them. They see how bad it is.
And like Jon said, we have to have every man, woman, and child, boy, and girl. We have to have everyone fighting, or we're not going to win.
That's true. Well, that brings us to the next one anyways, which would be Jon Snow and Sansa figuring out how to rule, which is really interesting because I like their dynamic. And she does have a lot of...
They're on the same side. I mean, they want the same things.
And
they just have different ways of trying to get there. This is either going to be a foreshadowing because she advised him, don't engage Ramsay Bolton, don't do it, and he did it anyway, and everybody almost got killed. I really like her character now. And even Jon said, you sound like Cersei, or you act like you respect her, or admire her. Yeah. And she said, I learned a lot. So if she's starting to act like Cersei...
Sansa is wearing her hair exactly the same way that Cersei wore her hair in season 1 when Sansa first meets her. Yeah. She was telling Sansa back then, you gotta use, you have to stand up for yourself, you have to use sex as a weapon, have to manipulate, you have to she's now starting to do those things. I mean, she's starting to
I think she's doing
realize
her
power.
Finger.
Exactly. I love her. She's like, I'll assume it was something clever.
Exactly. That's so Cersei.
It really is. It really is. That's not Sansa at all. There's a lot of estro power in this in this episode. In Bear Island, all the women, men, boys, and girls will be training to fight, and I like that, and I like that Jon is supportive of that. But we get so little fun in this show. Tormund.
Oh my God.
His crush on Brienne, I have never seen him make that look on this show with one eyebrow up, and he had a big smile, and he was like, you're lucky.
So cute.
He's so adorable.
And
she's just like, get away from me. Then, coming back to what we were saying about Cersei. Cersei's sort of becoming the Mad King. She just killed everybody with wildfire. And now Jaime's in the same position he was back with the Mad King.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, this person is clearly insane. They're killing everyone, people that are loyal to them and people that aren't. Along those same lines, somebody like the Hound, who has just been a terrible person his whole life, I feel like is starting to soften up. I know you don't necessarily agree with that, but I have been wanting to be with the Brotherhood without banners since he met them. I was like, I think it's so interesting that he was burned by fire when he was a kid, and now he's with these people that worship the Lord of Light. I think since he's been traveling with Arya that he progressively started softening. If you take him from King's Landing as one of the King's guards to now, obviously I think it's been a slow progression, but he's definitely changed.
And I do think that Arya had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
The Hound saw in the flames the undead coming
around the wall.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the fire, if the fire chooses who it talks to, if it'll talk to anyone that they're telling to look into the fire, what that is, and how the Hound was able to see those things, because it looked like Beric Dondarrion had no idea that they had not seen
either
that.
One of them could see what was going, because they were asking him,
what do you see? But then Beric said, I see that I'm destined for bigger things. So again, I'm not sure what Beric Dondarrion, why he's been brought back 6 times, 7 times, something like that.
But that's also what Melisandre said and Stannis said, and he burned his child. alive. I
don't know. I think
have
he's...
this whole thing about the Lord of Light people. Is the Lord of Light good? Is the Lord of Light bad? I mean, I don't trust the red women in Marine either.
All the horrible things that have been done in the world have been done in the name of religion. So everybody who's doing them thinks they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in order to worship their God in the best way possible. I mean, they used to have human sacrifices back in the day. So I feel like the Lord of Light is not evil. It's what the people are interpreting.
I can see that as well.
We do know that the only things that can stop or prevent or hurt White Walkers are dragon glass, Valyrian steel, and fire. So the fact that the Lord of Light is seen, happens through fire, I think could end up having, all of this, like Fire and Ice. That's the first book. A lot of people think it might be Jon Snow and Daenerys. And those are the Fire and Ice coming together, but it could also be the Lord of Light and the White Walkers. So the Hound sees the White Walkers coming around, which is interesting because if that was something, then how would the Wildlings not have known about that and use that as a way to get past?
Maybe it's just really hard trick for people who are alive.
But then we were going to talk about Daenerys, who is now on her way.
Well, and it's interesting because Daenerys, when she was talking to Yara in Marine about, she was like, we want our independence, and he was good, and Tyrion was like, everybody's going to want that,
right?
If you give it to her. And she said, well, they can ask. So it's nice to know that she's not gonna, like, if Jon comes and says, I want the North, and I'll fight with you, that she's just not gonna say squish.
And I did like the very ending, because that's sort of how the end of the one where she comes back with the dragons before they negotiate with the masters, and she brings out Drogon and fire breathes on everyone, because that's how I say Dragonfire or whatever. But she does the same thing. She just walks right into Dragonstone. She looks at the throne. She's like, nope, let's go to the war room and shall we begin? And that's exactly what she did right before she took down her other enemies. So I thought that was really cool and kind of a subtle way to just show that she's like ready to rock. Yeah. The Samwell Charlie thing at the Citadel. Oh, yeah. I personally thought that went on just a little bit long. I didn't need that much. I appreciate that they were showing that there's a lot of poop and disgusting stuff. Yeah, and him, it was just like, okay, cool. He's been here a while. It sucks. Yeah, but at least now, hope he's taking risks and actually finding out and sending Jon useful information, which would be where the dragon glass is.
Talk about Jorah being at the Citadel.
Oh, that's right. With his gray scale.
Yeah, I guess he went there because that's where all the maesters are.
Yeah, they were talking about Stannis' daughter. They were saying that they got Shireen, that they got all of the best maesters to come, and they were able to stop the grayscale. So I'm sure that's why he's there now. With the maesters in the Citadel, it's like they have all the books that show that these things exist, so why are none of them concerned about the White Walkers and what to do about it? I mean, I understand he's like, oh, they all said we were going to die this time, we didn't, and like we said, it's like that old mentality.
All we're doing is just keeping a record of it.
Right, but it's almost like global warming or something. It's like, it's been happening this whole time. Yeah, but it's way worse now, and it's happening so much quicker. I mean, that's the kind of thing with this. It's like, now
I agree.
It's much worse than it was the first time, and it's happening quicker, and they're able to get all the population that is now available and dead to be on their side and their army. And the Night King touched Bran. They haven't really talked about that again since it happened. But in 10 words or less, last episode, what is it? What's happening? Final verdict.
Daenerys is ruler, Jon's king of the North,
and Lady Mormont marries Theon.
Oh, no, she can't marry Theon.
He's good now again.
I know, but he
through all this stuff.
He doesn't have a...
Oh,
man.
They didn't cut off his tongue.
Oh! But she needs to have children to carry on her name.
Also, I don't know, I did it in front of here as well so that you could see where I get my decorating style from. I just love the way you have everything all together, and I got the idea of the colored coordinated books and things like that and the shelves and stuff from her. This is also a very special episode because I have my mom, obviously, and I'm here in Tennessee, but the reason that I started being so well versed in Game of Thrones was because she was watching it and she started taking notes on it.
It was very, very confusing, and I don't know, I just started writing stuff down.
And we email each other notes, and then I add it to my notes, and I'm like, oh, look, we have all these notes here. You prefer to call her what?
I just want to say that I am so proud of you. It's very special to me that you asked me to do this with you. I really look up to you. I think you're so brave. And you inspire me.
Well, thank you, Mom. If you were my mom. Thank you for tuning into this very special episode with my mom, Connie or Collie or Mama or Bob. Make sure to follow on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and tune in next week for more Game of Thrones. I'll rescue you and then leave you.
Cut that
out. Oh, yes.
Women.
She was like, no, I'm not leaving.
We're all gonna die. Boing. Very, very cold zombies. For me! Whatever.
On the shitter.
She looks like a man.
Just... little practical zombie. Ready to go now.
Oh, that's
shit.
not good. I like it.
That's blackberry, I made it myself.
Oh shit, it's dying. We still don't know who her mother is. It could be one of 3 or 4 different women.
Yeah, that's true.